Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, the 26th, February 2025. I'm jumping on here to do a video because of this hat right here. What does that say? It says, Make America Great Again. The problem we're running into is the current administration, Donald Trump, cannot do anything to make America great again because these people keep trying to stop him. The Democrats, the elites, all of these people are literally treasonous traitors who are trying to stop Donald Trump from doing everything. Now, Doge, who was elected, they told everybody that he was going to be doing this during the election. We voted for it, and it's happening. He's finding trillions of dollars that was wasteful spending of tax dollars that they've stole from me and you. But yet, these far left judges want Trump to keep sending money to U.S. aid, to keep sending money to other countries because they're not getting kickbacks no more. They're losing money, and they don't like that. They're losing their power. They don't like that. So, as Americans, we should be pissed off. We voted to make America great again, but we cannot get them to make America great again. This is getting to be ridiculous. That's why they took so long to confirm Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, because, as we just learned recently, they were shredding evidence and destroying it for the Epstein list, the JFK, all of this stuff. They were destroying evidence so that way no one could see what was going on. That's why it took so long to get them confirmed for their positions. Now, Paulina, or whatever her name is, basically Anna Paulina Luna, that's how you say her name, sorry. She was sent this letter, and I'll read it to you. It says, Thank you for your letter to the Department of Justice Department, dated February 11th, 2025 and February 19th, 2025. We are sending an identical response to the other members who joined your letters. In your letters, you requested a briefing about any documents in the department's possession relating to the investigation and in possession of Jeffrey Epstein, and about the declassification of records regarding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Pursuant to Executive Order 14176, you also requested written confirmation of the date and location of those records' release. The integrity of the criminal investigation and prosecution is essential to every component of the department's mission to uphold the rule of law, keep our nation safe, and protect civil rights. The department remains committed to meeting its legal record-keeping and obligations as it pursues that mission. We are reviewing your request and look forward to engaging further to accommodate your oversight and legislative records. We hope this information was helpful. So basically, they're just stonewalling. They don't want to release any of these lists because there's congressmen, there's senators, there's movie stars, there's all kinds of people on these lists. They don't want us to see it. They don't want us to know that our own government was behind JFK's assassination, which we already know. Anybody that's been a conspiracy theorist their whole lives knows what the truth is. They don't want to release it. So that's just one part of this video. Now, Doge is doing a great job to the point where they're talking about giving out dividends. Now, I do have some questions because something isn't making sense. Once again, I always have more questions than answers. Maybe you guys can help me with this. So, the Doge clock on X shows about $110 billion that they have found in wasteful spending. Now, they said originally that they thought their goal was to be, a couple $1 trillion. And if they could reach that $2 trillion mark in wasteful spending, that they would give out a Doge dividend to the Americans who have been robbed. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, $5,000 would help. But the problem is, after researching it, it's not going to help the people you think it's going to help. And I'll break that down here in just a minute. Now, they said that they expect to get to $2 trillion. Right now, as of today, when I just looked, they said that it's going to be tough. They might be able to get to 1 trillion. And that threw me for a loop because I've been seeing all of the stories and I see everything that's going on. Okay? And I have a hard time believing that the only fraud and wasteful spending happened in the last 4 years. Okay? I don't think that that's true. I think that the creation of the Federal Reserve, when they redid the Constitution to take taxes out illegally, to rob us blind, happened in 1913. How many years ago was that? It's over 100. And I think it's been going on since then. So, if you take that into consideration, we're well over $2 trillion that they have wasted and stolen from the American people and used for their own personal agendas, their own ideologies, their own climate change, their own everything that they sent this money to. That includes a war, several wars, but one in particular that lasted 21 years. And the amount of money that these people wasted is astronomical. Now let's just take some figures from the last 4 years that Doge has come up with. I have some little charts here that I've got that we can look at. Okay? So, they did a Barbie doll photo that used PPP funds in the amount of $800 billion. They did, in red interest on our national debt expenses was $659 billion. Dr. Fauci's monkey business and NIH Monkey Island, $33,200,000. USAID funds to boost Egyptian tourism was $6 million. The USDA cutting edge research is unknown. There is a DHS training employees to be their authentic and best selves. The amount of that was unknown. The government pays dead people again $38 million. DOD's lobster tank was $8,395. That's just one. So, if we go back, now we have another little list. I'm just reading a couple off of each list. American Near East Refugee Aid, they gave out $109 billion in grants. Arab American Institute got $1,549,000. Bairder got $901 million. The Center for Study of Islam Democracy got $65 million. Helping Hands and Relief of Development, $188 million. Islamic Relief Agency, $200 million. Like I said, these are just a couple. So I just wanted to show a couple of these. But this is the one that really got me thinking. Now, like I said, the Doge clock on X shows about 110 billion right now that they found in wasteful spending. But they also found that the U.S. Treasury cannot account for $4.1 trillion in payments. Yes, you heard that right. $4.1 trillion in payments. They have no idea where it went. And we all know that the DOD and the Pentagon failed their last 7 audits in the trillions. They have no idea where the money is or where it went. It's gone. It vanished. But that's 4.1 trillion. So let's jot that number down. 4.1 T. Okay? Medicare mistakenly sent $2.7 trillion overseas to ineligible recipients. Once again, that's trillion with a T. Now remember, in order to give you that Doge dividend check, they needed to reach $2 trillion. Well, by my accounts, that's 4, 5, 6. That's $6.8 trillion right there. Just those two that were misplaced. Now, they're not considering that wasteful spending because they don't have it. That money has been wasted. But that doesn't matter to the taxpayer. It was still stolen from us and used for something that we did not approve of. It went to other countries. It went to God knows where. They don't even know. They can't figure out where it went. $4.1 trillion disappeared, gone. Now, that wasn't on us. That was on them. So that should go into the wasteful spending. Right? Let me know your thoughts. I think that that definitely is wasteful spending. Right? So, then they have Social Security distributes $100 billion annually to individuals without verified identities. We learned that there was a 350-year-old person getting paid. Okay? That's $100 billion. Okay, so right now, Doge says that they've saved $110 billion. That one mess up right there is $100 billion annually. Once again, that is wasteful spending. We did not approve of them doing that, but they still did it. They stole our tax dollars to do it. That should be in the Doge clock. So right now, we are currently at over $7 trillion just with those. The Department of Education spends $50 billion per year promoting LGBTQ ideology to children. Another $50 billion. That's $150 billion there, plus the $7 trillion. We're at like $7 trillion, $150 billion. Okay? Write that down. And let me know what your thoughts are on this. U.S. aid allocates another $50 billion annually for the same agenda worldwide. So now we're at $200 billion. That is far exceeding what that Doge clock says. Now, I think that if they looked into the IRS and FinCEN and the Clintons and all of the congressmen and women and all of this stuff, they would find well over $10 trillion. We're already almost past that. We're at $7 trillion, a couple $100 billion right now, just with what I've told you guys about. And you can look these up. They're all over the place. You can see what they've wasted the money on, for the most part, except for the U.S. Treasury, who has no clue where that money went. It just disappeared. But, so here we are at almost $10 trillion. Okay? They want to give 20% out to the American people in dividend checks, which I think is a great idea. But the way they are doing it doesn't make sense to me. Now I'm going to read you what Grok, who is an AI that was created by Elon Musk on X, talks about when you ask it about these dividend checks. Like I said, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm going to read what he said and how they are planning to distribute this money. I wasn't too thrilled with it, and I don't think you will be either. I think that everybody who pays taxes, who have had money stolen from them, should be included. But this is what Grok has to say. The idea of a $5,000 Doge dividend check stems from a proposal tied to the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk under President Donald Trump's administration. This concept, initially suggested by James Fishbeck, CEO of Arizona Partners, involves redistributing a portion of the savings achieved by Doge's efforts to cut federal spending. However, details remain speculative as no official policy has been confirmed. Based on the proposal, the $5,000 checks would likely go to tax-paying households, rather than every U.S. citizen. Fishbeck's plan specifies that only households that are net payers of federal income tax, meaning they pay more in taxes than they receive in refunds or credits. Did you catch that? Households that are net payers of federal income taxes, meaning they pay more in taxes than they receive in refunds or credits, would qualify. This could amount to roughly 79 million households. Though exact numbers are vary slightly across reports. Unlike the pandemic-era stimulus checks, which were broader and included lower-income individuals, This dividend aims to target those who contribute more to federal income tax, potentially excluding lower income households that don't pay net federal income taxes. I'll keep reading, but yeah, you heard that right. So I'll read it again. This broader and includes lower income individuals. The dividend aims to target those who contribute more to federal income tax, potentially excluding lower income households that don't pay net federal income tax. The amount hinges on those achieving significant savings originally pegged at $2 trillion, with 20% or $400 billion allocated for these checks. If that target were met, it could theoretically yield $5,000 per eligible household. However, current estimates suggest that DOGE has saved far less, around $55 billion. Now, remember what we just talked about. We're in the trillions, but it says that they've only saved $55 billion. At most, with some analysts lowering that number down to $8.6 billion, making the 5,000 figure highly unlikely without massive additional cuts. Even Musk has dialed back expectations, suggesting $1 trillion as a more realistic goal, which would have a payout of about $2,500 per household if the 20% allocation holds. Eligibility and the final amount remain uncertain because the proposal needs congressional approval, faces legal challenges, and depends on DOGE's actual savings by its 2026 end date. For now, it's not a guaranteed payment. If implemented, it would likely be limited to higher income, tax-paying households rather than a universal distribution. Don't count on seeing any check anytime soon or at the full amount given the practical and political hurdles involved. So, did you catch that? This would only be for high-income tax-paying citizens who would get that money. Now, do I agree that younger people who have not paid as much taxes probably wouldn't get as much, but they still pay taxes? They're still being robbed. And I already told you how they have reached way past the trillions. Now, if you go back hundreds of years when they started scamming people to now, we're way past the trillions of how much they've stolen from us. Now, in a previous video, I told you guys, I read a thing off from Google. I'm going to read it again based on all of that information. Although taxpayers generally lack standing to sue the federal government, they do have standing to sue the federal government when the federal government uses its revenue to violate the Establishment Clause, because the federal government has exceeded its constitutional limitations on taxing and spending. Now, every one of us has the right to sue the federal government for violating the Establishment Clause. They are stealing money and spending it on things that are not even close to helping the American people or the United States. So, a $5,000 dividend check, although would be really nice, but it doesn't seem like it's going to even help the lower class, who are the people hurting currently, who are losing their houses, living on the streets, can't afford groceries. They want to give these dividend checks to the ultra-wealthy taxpayers. That's who they want to give these checks to. To me, that doesn't seem right. Everybody who pays taxes is getting scammed. Now, everybody has the right to sue the federal government. Now, they say that they don't have enough money to be able to pay us back. But whenever they have a problem within the federal government, when there's a government shutdown looming, what they do is they just raise the debt ceiling and print more money to make it happen, like this $4.1 trillion bill that just got passed. Now, don't get me wrong. I voted for Trump, and I think he's doing a great job. And he just cut taxes on tips. He cut taxes on overtime. That's a good bill that got passed for the most part. Nobody has read the whole thing, but for the most part, it's a good bill. But they have to move the debt ceiling up and print the money to make it happen. Every time they do that, it creates the deficit. We're $37 trillion in debt. And we're learning that there is no gold in Fort Knox. That all of that gold is in JP Morgan's gold depository in New York City. 507,000 gold bars. So the banks and the SP 500 and all these places that are privately owned but ran by the federal government decide what goes on with your money. And right now they don't like what Donald Trump's doing, so they're crashing the stock market on purpose. Why? Because they can control it. They control when it goes up, when it goes down, so that way they stay in power and make tons of money, and we still will be the peasants, the sheep that do everything they want us to. They take taxes from us so that way they can make themselves millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires. They literally, everybody in Congress makes $170,000 a year. All of them are billionaires, millionaires. They all have multiple mansions. They all have lavish lifestyle jobs, not jobs, but lavish lifestyles from a job that only pays $170,000 a year. It's absolutely crazy. Given those numbers and given all that I know it's a lot of information, let me know what your thoughts are. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I'm just baffled. I am totally baffled. It makes no sense to me that these people are able to continue to steal from us. The IRS should be abolished. All of these government agencies that were created that we didn't have no say in need to be abolished. Doge and his team needs to continue. They need to go to the IRS. They need to go to Fort Knox. They need to investigate every congressman, every senator. All of these things need to happen. The Epstein client list needs to drop now. John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King. We were told that we would get to see it all. It needs to drop now. All of this nonsense of, we gotta do, mumbling. It's excuses. Any congressmen and senators who were involved in laundering money and in Epstein's client list or had anything to do with John F. Kennedy, arrest them. It's considered treason. They need to be arrested. The military can step in and arrest them. As Americans, we are tired of it. It's time to get to the bottom of this nonsense and really know what's going on. So I asked Donald Trump, if he sees this video, let the American people know you've got it. You're taking care of it, and that you're not going to listen to these far-left Democrats and these elites. You're going to get what you said, make America great again. So, like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I know it's a long, rambling video, and there's a lot. If you want to know any more about it, or you want to see where I was getting the statistics, most of it was from X. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you can get most of the real news from X. There are still a couple of people who try to scam on X, but for the most part, you get the real news from X. So, like I said, Doge is doing great. Donald Trump is trying to do amazing things. He's trying to make America great again, but they're not letting him. Mike Johnson does not want us to get a dividend check or a refund for all the money that they've stolen, which lets you know that he's a rhino. All of the Democrats do not want Doge to investigate them because they're stealing and they're getting kickbacks. So, I mean, it only makes sense. But like I said, let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll see you on the next video.